The wolves were close and no that Emma could hear tevres. She preserva que gains the cabin door, rifle trembling in her frost-cracked hands. 3 winters alone a told her to read the forest warnings. The sudden silence of birds. The way the air tracks vanished near the crag. Tonight, the warning screamed. The chills cry split the darkness. Emma's head slapped toward the sound. Through the penis, a small figure stumbled through, snow that reached her knees. Vein her, a man silhouette moved with a delivery calm of someone who the fast wears than ghouls. Get inside. Emma heard herself shout, though every instinct said, bar the door. The man swept the chill into his arms and ran. Emma fired ways over their heads, not to kill, but to scatter the pack. The ghouls melted into shadow as the strangers crashed onto her porch. Up close, the man was younger than his weathered face suggested. 30, maybe. His daughter couldn't be more than 7, shaking so hard her teeth chattered. Both wore clothes too fine for traveling on foot through wilderness. Lost our horses, the man said. His voice was rough gravel smooth by something else. Education maybe got turned around in the storm. Emma's cabin had 1 room, 1 bed, 1 winter's worth of supplies that bound stretched of tree. She stepped aside anyway. One night, she said, a storm breaks. You move on. The man's eyes held gray as January sky, carrying Tera on kind of cold. One night, you have my word. I didn't offer his name out here. That was courtesy. Emma barred the door in the man tried not to calculate how many days of flowers she used gambled on strangers who mixed her through before dawn. The child was already asleep against her father's chest. As my fingers clutched in his coat like she never let go. The cabin warmed slowly. Emma untailed wet coats near the fire, careful not to touch the fine wool on her than necessary. The man's boots were custom leather, worn, but expensive. His daughter's dress a lace a de collar. Perseverante driftes or desperados, which made them more dangerous, not less. Name Sarah, the child whispered, suddenly a quack. Her eyes were dark and solemn. Papa says he's sowing to talk to strangers. What you sabu ese from the ghouls? Sarah, hush. The man's voice was gentle but firm. Emma la less two into good and bows. Sin bros with more potato than meat, but hot. She watched the man slowly, breaking his bread into small pieces for his daughter fears. A gentleman's bit, a father's devotion. You're far from any town, Emma said. We like it that way. And met her gas without apology. You live here alone. 3 years now. That's brave. Something in his tone said understood the weight of that word. Or desperate. But, Emma set down her spoon. You running from something or toward? The man smiled. Brief as summer lightning. Depends on the day. Sarah's head dropped against his shoulder. Shifted her carefully, settling her on the bed Emma offered without asking what she'd sleep on herself. You didn't have to take us in, he said quietly. Didn't have to leave you to the wolves either. Emma poked the fear out here. You help folks. That's the lot that matters. Even when you can't afford to. She looked at him, then really looked beneath the dry dust and exhaustion. She saw something broken, something familiar. Especially then, she said. The man nodded slowly. For a moment, neither spoke. The fear crackled outside. When Howl promises of harder cold to come. Get some rest, Emma said. You ain't need your strength tomorrow. It didn't argue, which told her exactly how spent it was. She watched him settle on the floor near his daughter. Close enough to shield her from any threat. Emma wrapped herself in a thin blanket answered by the fear through the long cold night. Dawn broke gray and bitter. Emma woke to find the man already up, feeding the fear with goo from her dwindling stock. He moved quietly, confidently, like someone accustomed to making himself useful. Storms worse, he said. Can't travel in this. Emma peered through the frost-sick window. Snow fell in seeds, erasing the world beyond her porch. The forest had vanished into wheat and nothing. Her heart sank. One night was charity. 2 nights, 3 that was survival much she couldn't afford. Y a hand, the man said, reading her silence. No kept. In that, Emma gestured at the blizzard. Even hunted in worse. It was already reaching for his coat. You have a trap, said Craigline. But I won't have caught anything in this weather. Tenía track. He checked his rifle with practiced hands. Sara stas with you. Y guesa question, not a command. Emma nodded. The child woke as her father kissed her forehead. We would for Miss Emma, murmured. You ella come back. Sarah's voice was very small. Always. I said it like an oath sworn on something sacred. Then it was gone, swallowed by the storm. Sarah sat on the bed, silent and watchful. Emma tried to remember how to talk to children. It had been so long since her sister's kids had visited. Before the fever took them all. You know how to sew? Emma asked finally. Sarah brightened. Mama told me before she stopped. Before. Good. Emma pulled out a torn dress. Let's fix this together. They worked in comfortable quiet news flashing in firelight. Sarah's stitches were careful. Precise. Her mother had taught her well. Papa said a lot. Sarah said suddenly since Mama went to heaven. Emma's hands stilled. How long? 2 years. Vare don't talk about her anymore. Sarah bit her lip. Is that man is forgetting? No. Honey. Emma's rotating. Sometimes people go quiet because they remember too much. Sarah nodded like I understood things no 7-year-old soul. Outside. The storm screamed. Inside. 2 souls missing the summit shape of los side by side and many broken things. The man returned at dusk with 2 rabbits and frost in his yard. Emma had kept up hot, stretching but no rising. So by the fire. Shaking so hard his teeth rattled, while Sarah pressed against him like Chico will worms into his bones. Foolish, Emma said, but she was already hitting stones to wrap in blankets. You ella catch your dad proving you're useful. Can't take without giving. His words came through blue lips. Not from someone was already given everything. Something in Emma's chest cracked open. She'd been alone so long she'd forgotten what it meant when someone saw her clearly. That night, they at the well. Sarah fell asleep quickly, worn out from worry. Emma cleaned while the man sat near the fire. Finally, still. You haven't asked my name, I said. Figured you'd tell me if you wanted James. A pause. James Colton. The name meant nothing to Emma. Solid, y land, I continued. A lot of it. Cattle, horses, a house big enough to hecho. His voice was hollow. Everything except what matters. Emma sat across from him. Money don't cure loneliness. No. James looked at his daughter. Vari can't buy what she needs either. A mother's love. A home that feels safe. She as you. That's not nothing. I'm half a father on my best days. His hands clenched. Say deserves better. She deserves you whole, Emma said quietly. That's different than perfect. James' eyes found hers across the firelight. For a long moment, something unspoken moved between them. Recognition of shared grief. Maybe understanding that came from walking the same hard road. Why are you out here alone? I asked. Lost everyone y los toferver. Couldn't stay in town where everything reminded me. Emma's voice didn't shake. She had 3 years to practice. Come here to reveal or the train. Which one is winning? She smiled. Vitel as January is. Asked me tomorrow. The fear burned low. Neither moveto a good. Sometimes darkness felt softer than the light that saw too much truth. One more day, James said. A storm soul break by 10. Emma nodded, ignoring the strand had chained her chest. One more day. Then she'd be alone again, used like she'd learned to prefer it. Morning brought silence. The storm had passed, leaving the world varied and sparkling under hard sun. Emma woke to find James already outside, clearing the snow from her porch with a shovel must have found in the leanto. Sarah helped, her small hands red with cold, laughing as she threw snowballs at the trees. You don't have to do that, Emma called. And no, James didn't stop. But your roof's got a weak spot near the chimney. Snow that heavy will carry it in. Emma climbed up to look. It was right. She'd been meaning to fix it before the winter, but lumber was expensive, and her hands weren't as strong as they had once been. I can't patch it, James said. If you were got spare good. I don't. Tenía ella read to town. There is one about 15 millas out. Isn't there Emma stirred in this snow on foot? Found our horses this morning. They'd sheltered in a canyon. Smiled slightly. Stubborn animals like their owner. The horses were magnificent. Sleek, well-bred, worth more than Emma sentire cabin. James saw the larger one we sees. Moving with the confidence of a man who lived in leather his whole life. Ella be back before the dark, he said. You don't owe me. I know what you owe. His voice was firm. And it's more than a patched roof. Emma, her name in his mouth felt like a promise. She watched him read the thought until it vanished into the distance. Then turned to find Sarah watching her with knowing eyes. Papa likes you, the child said simply. As you being kind. No. Sarah shook her head. It laughs different when you talk. Like you said to his mama. Emma said stuttered. Sweet girl, that's not will you be my mama? The question hit like a bullet. Emma crowded down, taking Sarah's cold hands. Honey, your papa and you met. We were strangers helping each other through a storm. Mama always said, God sends the right people when you stop looking. Sarah's voice was utterly certain. Papa stopped looking. Then we found you. Emma had no answer for that kind of fight. That night, James returned with lumber, nails, and for the note to last weeks. Emma started to protest, but I cut her off. Let me do this, he said quietly. Please. So she did. 3 days became a week. James fixed the roof, then the siding porch rail, then the door that stuck in its frame. It worked from dawn to dusk, and Emma stopped pretending she wanted him to leave. Sarah bloomed like spring flowers, teaching them as songs her mother sung, learning to braid Emma's hair with clumsy, earnest fingers. The cabin filled with laughter for the first time in 3 years. Evenings after Sarah slept, Emma and James sat by the fire and traded stories. He told her about his ranch, thousands of acres, a dozen hands, hair that stretched to the horizon. She told him about the families she had lost, the sisters she still dreamed about so many nights. "I so go back," James said one night. "My for Emma's capable, but there are decisions only can make. Then go." Emma kept her voice steady. "Come with su ese." The words soon in the warmer. Emma said hammered. "James, I'm not asking you to marry me." He leaned forward. "Ernest, not yet. But come to the ranch, see if Sarah's right. If this is more than kindness, I have nothing to offer you." Emma gestured at her treasure dress, her callous hands. "I'm not the kind of woman who fits in a rancher's world. You're exactly the kind of woman who does." His voice was rough, strong, honest, good. "You barely know me. I know you have everything you are to strangers in a storm." James reached across the space between them. "No keep touching. I know my daughter smiles again. I know I feel human for the first time since my wide-eyed. A pause. I know I'm half in love with you, Emma. And I don't want to walk away to find out what whole feels like." Emma's breast caught. Every instinct screamed to protect herself, to say no, to stay safe in her lonely cabin where nothing could hurt her anymore. But Sarah's laughter echoed in her memory, and Jamás' hands built in her a stronger home and the wounds of being seen. Truly seen after 3 years of invisible grief. One condition, Sai said finally. "Anything. If it don't take work, if it don't fit you, let me live with dignity. No charity, no pity." Jamás' smile was unreasonable breaking through storm clouds. The owl held out his hand. Emma took it. His palm was warm and rough and felt like coming home. The ranch took Emma's breath away. Rolling hills, endless sky, a house that could swallow her cabin 10 times over. Hands tipped their hats as James rode in with Emma beside man, Sarah chattering between them. But the whispers started immediately. Was that? Emma heard in the stable. Some woman found in the wilderness. Poor thing probably thinks she called herself a rich man. Emma's spine stiffened. She'd survived 3 winters alone. She could survive gossip. James introduced her to his foreman, a leather man named who looked her over with sharp eyes. "Ma'am," he said, respectful but reserved. "I can't work," Emma said. "Don't expect charity." Dute's expression shifted, surprise, then approving. "Kitchen needs help. Cook's been planning for months. Ella start tomorrow." That night, James saw her to a guest room. Tasteful, spacious. Nothing like the luxury she'd imagined. "Take your time," he said. "No pressure." But Sarah daughter ideas. Say appeared at Emma's door in her nightgown, clashing a worn doll. "Will you tuck me in?" Say asked, like you did at the cabin. Emas rotaten. She follows Sara to a bedroom decorated in pink and white, clearly untouching the hermoterdaid. Sara climbed into bed, tempate space beside her. Mama used to lie here and tell stories. She said, Emma hesitated. This felt sacred, intimate, crossing a threshold she couldn't uncross. Please. Sarah's eyes were rouge. So Emma lay down and told the story of a brother who befriended ghouls and a father who learned to smile again and a woman who had forgotten say Western until say to be. Sarah fell asleep middle, her hand wrapped around Emma's. James found them there an hour later. His expression was unreadable in the lumpy grief and nope and something fierce, more fragile. Thank you, he whispered. Emma carefully extracted herself and followed him to the hallway. Ses feeling a motesapedo le wisme. Emma said, What happens when she realizes I know her mama? She knows that. Jamás voice was gentle. Says choosing you anyway. The question is whether you reverab know to let her. Emma thought of her cabin, her solitude, her careful survival. Then she thought of Sarah's laughter. James, hands building. The warmth of being chosen. I am terrified, Sai admitted. Good. James smiled. That means it matters. A kiss her forehead, chest, tender, and left her standing in the hall of a house that might become a home. 2 months passed like a dream. Emma worked in the kitchen, earning respect with her bread and steady hands. Sarah followed her everywhere, chattering about school and horses and the kitten the barn cattle. James courted her properly slow readers at sunset. Careful conversations. His hand at her was during ranch dances, but whispers followed them like shadows. Gold digger sings chica ni plaza real lady. Poor James. Taken in by a pretty face and heart like a story, Emma ignored them until they served her the banker's wife in town. Millionaire cowboy like James couldn't call of anyone. The woman is needed. Instead, es plain house with some wilderness beggar. It's embarrassing. Emma's hands shook as she loaded her wagon. She had survived wolves in winter and grief. Why did cruel words go deeper? That night, James found her on the porch staring at the stars. What happened? He asked. Nothing. Emma's voice was hollow. You remember what I am. What I always be to them. And what's that? Not an oak. The words tasted like us. Not refine the oak. Not a yekati the oak. Not Emma. Stop. James turned her to face him. I don't give a damn what they think. Perdido. Her voice broke. Sarah deserves a mother who fits. You deserve a wife who knows which fork to use. I deserve a woman who they give strangers her last meal in a storm. Jamás grip was firm. Sarah deserves someone who loves her without conditions. We both deserve you, Emma, exactly as you are. You don't understand. I understand I'm falling in love with you. The words were raw, honest. I understand my daughter calls you mama when she sings I'm not listening. I understand the wake up grateful you were here and terrified where you live. A cap her face. I understand that if you walk away, it won't be because you were not an oak. It be because you don't believe it you are. Emma's eyes burn. What if I failed you? What if you don't? Jamás embrace her check. What if we build something good together? What if love is an oak? Is it? Emma whispered. Is of a very no? Only one way to find out. A kiss her, then soft, seeking a question her at answer before her head cold object. When they broke apart, Sarah was watching from the window, grinning like sunrise. Spring came early that year. The wedding was small, used ranch hands. Ducha and Sarah in a white dress that made her glow. The preacher spoke of new beginnings and second chances, while Emma gripped James, hands and tried to believe this was real. Ido, James said, voice steady. Ido. Emma and menti with her whole battered earth. Sarah threw wild flowers, laughing as petals caught in Emma's hair. The hands cheered. Dutch nodded approval, and James kissed his bride like they was around the vein drowning. That night they stood on the porch of their home, no longer his. But Teres watching the land stretch endlessly under the stars. Thank you, Emma said softly. For what? Getting lost in my goods. She leaned into his warmth, for giving me a reason to open the door. James wrapped his arms around her. Thank you for being brave enough to let strangers in. Sarah emerged in her nightgown, rubbing sleepy eyes. Can I sleep with you tonight? Say as like we said to the cabin. Emma and James exchanged glances nervous with a chaperone. Anken bench channel, but perfect. Always, Emma said, lifting Sarah into her arms. They went inside together. His family built from broken pieces and wild grass. Weighing them, the door closed on winter's loneliness. Ahead, fire light flickered warm and gold. Había con promising Darwin in the hardest seasons. Kindness could kindle home. Emma had learned the wilderness truth. Sometimes salvation comes disguised as strangers in a storm. Sometimes love arrives when you've stopped looking. Carried on both son and prayer. Sometimes the bravest thing is simply opening the door. Outside, a spring wind whispered through pines. Inside, 3 yards beat steady as the land. Strong as the promise they the mother to build. Toeal, to choose a shooter every day. The ghouls were distant now. The cold had passed. And in the morning, they the what to a world mother knew.